Hello everyone, welcome to our prep information session for preps for 2021 at Courtney Gardens Primary School. My name is Mark DeLay, I'm the principal, and I'd like to welcome to you our prep team who's going to be participating in our presentation to you this evening. So can I introduce Chelsea, Anna, Jess, Danielle and Jackie, and they'll be jumping in with some information for you. So first of all, thank you for enrolling your child in prep at Courtney Gardens for next year. We are certainly looking forward to having your children at our school. And we understand the difficulty we've had this year with the coronavirus, and we've tried to run things as best we could in terms of providing information to you. So normally the prep information session would have been a day where you could have come into the school and met us in person and been able to meet all the team. But in the circumstances, we're doing the Zoom call with you. So thank you for joining. Just a couple of bits of information. We will record this Zoom session. So we will have that available on our YouTube and website for you to look at. And for anyone who's missed out. So just to be aware that the Zoom session is being recorded. We also have the chat function in Zoom. So please, throughout the session, if there is a question that you would like to pose to any of us, please type it in the chat and we will endeavour at the end of the session to answer those questions for you to the best of our ability. We may not get through all questions depending on how many, but we'll certainly look at questions at the end. Okay, so we'll move forward. So what we're going to be doing is sharing the screen with you, and we've got a PowerPoint that our wonderful prep team have put together, and we'll go through a number of slides with you around preparation for starting prep next year, some things that you'll expect in terms of the programs at the school, and particularly around the first day and the initial experience for your child at Courtney Gardens. All right, so we've gone to the next page. We'll go to the, so this slide is about attendance. And just to reiterate the point that attendance at school is really important. It's a strong focus of the school and the Department of Education in terms of every child being at school every day, because every day counts. And if you add up days across 7 years of schooling in terms of missing days here and there, that can actually add up to a lot of days. So it is a factor that every day does count. We have introduced this year a Compass system. So Compass is our communication and online system. As new parents, when you enrolled, the office would have provided to you Compass information to register. So there's a Compass app for your phone, which we send messages through. And you can also log in on the Compass portal as well to enter information, particularly around, for example, if your child may be absent, you can enter that information ahead of time. And Compass is the main communication tool we have. So if you don't have Compass or you haven't got that set up, please contact the school office and we'll provide your login details and the information on getting on to Compass. And we've been using Compass already to communicate to you. So information and letters are being sent to you through Compass as future enrolments. So even though you haven't actually started at the school, we can still use Compass to communicate with you. So if you don't have Compass, you need to have that, because that's going to be the key communication tool that we use with parents. So I'd like now to introduce to you Danielle, and Danielle will take you through some of the literacy program that your children will be having as they come to the school next year.
Hi everyone, welcome to tonight's information session. In Literacy at Courtney Gardens, we definitely acknowledge that children learn literacy from the moment that they are born. We think it's a very important matter that we address every single day throughout literacy and numeracy. We're always reading. Children watch and learn from adults as we talk to one another, read a book and write a letter or list. Throughout reading at Courtney Gardens, students are exposed to all areas of literacy. They are surrounded by text-rich environments through posters and engaging activities. Children listen to a variety of stories daily, including mentor texts. Children take books home in their reader and need to read every night. It's very important to read every night, where they will be looking for star words, ensuring that they are learning and practicing their strategies that they will be introduced to in the classroom. In addition to taking their books home, students have their star words, which are vitally important. We will be looking at those every week, and there will be also assessments every Friday or every second Friday where students will be ticking off new words and being able to learn new words once they have achieved those ones. We look forward to having the students in the classroom and seeing how far they come with their literacy. In writing, children participate in writing sessions which allow them to experience the writing process of planning, drafting, and publishing. Children are supported in their classroom by word lists, word charts, and working in small focus groups. Students will learn how to correctly form letters and develop their fine motor skills. CGPS focuses on further developing children's understanding of the English language, how to use language to interact with other children and adults, to maintain relationships and express feelings. Children participate in share time after each lesson, and we reflect upon the things that we have learned and the goals that we have achieved. I'll now introduce to you Chelsea for numeracy.
Hello and welcome to CGPS. I can't wait to meet all you lovely children next year. I'm looking forward to meeting the parents as well. In numeracy at CGPS, we teach a lot of different key areas. In the PowerPoint that you can see, these are the areas that we focus on and make sure that we are using hands-on manipulatives and thinking outside the box on how we can help your child learn best in the classroom. We like to play lots of games. We like to interact with different classes to make sure that we are getting the best out of our lessons and achieving our goals. And we also like to differentiate our maths so that kids are being supported in different areas. I'll now introduce you to Maddie.
So we will be running a discovery time approach. So I'm Maddie Schuper and I'm a leading teacher here. And one of the things that we'll be doing to teach our integrated curriculum areas, so all those other areas like history, science, we're going to be running this discovery time in classrooms. And what that's going to give students a chance to do is collaborate, have digital technologies to explore their learning, think independently, and to ask their own questions. And discovery time is really powerful because it gives you a chance to make connections to the real world, your home lives, and the bigger picture of Australia, and students can explore that as a way to look at learning. It's definitely not free play. So what does this mean for the student? Oh, sorry.
Hang on.
So for our students that have experienced COVID this year, this is especially powerful. You might have noticed that in the Herald Sun 4 weeks ago on the 14th, there was actually research published and our department saying that this is a great way to engage our students in learning and to help support our students transition into school having missed some of those kinder experiences that we know are really powerful. So learning through hands-on things and being able to engage our students in play, but linking it to learning is how we're going to support your students to transition into school and make some really powerful connections with learning. So what are the outcomes for the students? They're going to get skills that they can generalise. That they're going to learn something and then think, oh, how can I apply this in a different setting? They're going to be able to pose questions and ask questions, which is really powerful for learners, that they can think about something that they wonder about, that they're curious about, and then we can teach them some skills of how to find out that information. They're going to be thinking creatively rather than just looking for one answer, one solution. They're going to be thinking a bit bigger and controlling their learning and exploring things that they're passionate about. They can access digital technologies to do these, as I said before. They have opportunities to take action on what they're exploring. So they can decide, I want to find out more about this and how to do that. They can work together and collaborate and have interactions that are really positive with their peers and their teachers. And they can work on concepts that are bigger than just a small content descriptor. So what does this look like at Courtney Gardens for you? So there'll be explicit teaching at the start of the lesson where we'll be teaching them about literacy and numeracy. We might be saying, oh, okay, this week we're learning how to write sentences, and we'll show them that. We're learning about counting. We'll practice our skip counting together. And that really sets them off with that mindset of, okay, this is about learning. I've just practiced writing a sentence. I've just practiced skip counting. How can I do that when I go and explore in these discovery time sessions? Maybe I could do skip counting in the shop when I'm serving people and having customers. I can skip count the prices. Maybe I could write my own book as part of my choice to use that sentence knowledge in a way that means something to them. Then the kids go off and explore, and the teacher's job is to go around and make those links to the curriculum and help each student in a way that's meaningful to them. And then as a group, we all reflect on that learning and have a think about what were we wondering and why, and what went well, what do we need to learn more about, and a discussion that's really good for that speaking and listening skills as well. So physically, what the room looks like is, you can see that we have some learning areas. So we have things like the tinkering table where students can explore how things work. You can see that there are books there, information, but they're also doing hands-on exploration. You can see a bit of a science area, which they have a light table, and they can look at some of those shadows, effects, colours, all that science investigation. We have some nature area where they might be doing some printing and exploring the texture of some natural nature items. You can see a dramatic play area that's a doctor's. You can see that it's print rich, like what we talked about in literacy. There's authentic text there like signs, posters. They have paper because they might be making appointments. They have a calculator to calculate the cost of your visit to the doctors. It's a very rich curriculum environment. Some construction materials, but you can see that there's a measuring tape there that if they build a tower, how tall is it? How long is your house? Lots of things that we can do, and some sensory things to explore with tools and different manipulatives and how they feel. We've actually had a pilot program of this at Courtney Gardens this year, and you'll be able to see some photos of our own students doing it. In which case you can see that they're really engaged, really enjoying their learning, and it's really personalised to them. So that's something that we're excited to bring for your students next year, and to really engage them in their learning and get them to think deeper and pose their own questions. Technology. Okay, so technology at Courtney Gardens, we encourage the use of ICT to ensure all children have access to technology. This includes weekly computer lessons, regular access to classroom laptops to enhance literacy and numeracy, which are probably more iPads as well. We have interactive whiteboards and interactive reading activities. The morning show for grade 5 children, and it is fun for the whole school, so children can see that. And at home, you can support your child by keeping computers in the family room, teaching your child about online safety, and allowing access to child-friendly sites.
Thanks, Jess. So just before, just touch on uniform, just a reminder about the chat function. So if you open the chat function or chat dialog box, it gives you an opportunity to type a question. So if you do have any questions, please use that, and we'll come to that at the end of the session. Just a little bit on the uniform. PSW is the uniform supplier. You would have got information about them and their location in the enrolment pack. Just got some pictures there and some information about the uniform. The uniform list has just been reviewed by school council, so we'll be putting onto the school website the uniform. One thing that we did was we removed a summer and winter distinction. So there's essentially a boys uniform and a girls uniform, and from a parent perspective, you can choose from the list of items to dress your child appropriately for the weather or activities that they're doing. We also have a Sun Smart policy at the school, so the Courtney Gardens school hat is required for term 1 and term 4. But further information on the uniform will be available on the website. I'll now hand over to Anna.
Hi everybody, I'm going to talk to you about parent involvement. And we love parents coming into Courtney Gardens and helping in the classroom and in other areas around the school. The main thing we love is the parents coming into the classroom and reading with the children and changing their take-home book. The more the children read, the better they know, and it helps your child if you come and help us. As well as helping in the classroom, you can come on excursions. We have a couple of excursions a year, and we always need parent helpers. Special events like Mother's Day stall, Father's Day stall, we need parents to organise that, get gifts ready and wrapped. The school council, you can be part of the school council where you make decisions for the school. Parents Association, I think it was the Parents Association that's just organised a colour fun run for our school in December. So they organise whole school events. Just a couple of things you need to do if you do want to help in the classroom or in the school. You have to have a Working with Children's check, which is organised from the post office. It's free. And you also need to do a training course of how to help in the classroom. We just can't accept anyone. You need to go through the process of learning how to help. Okay, so I think that's about all, but you're most welcome to come. If you'd like to help your child in the classroom, you just need to see the teacher and they can organise that for you. Okay, thank you.
Hi. Lovely to see you all tonight. We'll virtually see you all. I'm going to talk about how to prepare your child for school. Now, everyone wants their kid to grow up to be Einstein, but it's just not a reality. So little things you can do over the holidays to help your kids to be better ready for school are things like writing their name and practicing the letters in their name, so knowing what they are and what sound they make. Getting dressed independently. I can't tell you how many jumpers we have to take off for them a day, so if they can take their own jumper off, they're already ahead of the pack. Packing and unpacking their bag using the zippers. Knowing what goes in a school bag and what shouldn't maybe go in a school bag. Opening and closing their lunchbox and all the things that go in their lunchbox. I mean, obviously we're there to help, but if they can open their own chip packet, that's amazing. Practicing tidying up after themselves. This is a big one because it actually teaches them responsibility as well as helps us cleaning up the classroom at the end of the day. And using the toilet independently, getting into a bit of routine using the toilet. You know, at school we don't like them going all the time. Obviously we let them, but we ideally want kids to be going before school, recess, lunchtime and after school. So if they can start to get ready for that sort of a routine, that's fantastic. And just generally getting a routine ready of the day, having breakfast at a reasonable time, going to bed at a reasonable time. And in that routine, maybe including reading together at night. And I think that's all from me. Who am I handing over to? Mark.
Okay, before we go on to Orientation Day, which is the next big event day coming up, I just wanted to touch on the Parents Association. So we've started a Parents Association this year, and we're very keen for that to grow. So we'd be very interested in any parents who'd like to be part of that. It's probably about 8 or 9 parents in the association at this stage, but the more parents involved means the workload is spread out a little bit more, and we'd certainly like to have more parents involved and to develop the Parents Association at the school. So if you are interested, just let the office know. We have a form to register, and then we'll put you in touch with Tanya Anglin, who is the current president. The other thing I wanted to mention is out of school hours care program. So I'm in the process at the moment of looking at establishing that facility and provider at the school. We are looking at presentations from a range of providers next week, and the school council will then make a decision on one of those or our preferred provider, and we would like them to start fairly early next year, so certainly term 1 next year, and have that operating at the school. So hopefully that's up and running and a service that some parents may find beneficial, either on a regular or casual basis. Just like to talk to you about Orientation Day now, which is the slide. So this went out in the information letter to you as well. So Tuesday, the 8th of December is an orientation session for preps for next year, but it actually occurs across the whole school. So for example, students in grade 2 going to grade 3, they also have an orientation, or what we call step up, where they go to their next year's teacher and class and meet their classmates as well. So it actually operates across the whole school, and it's actually the same day that the grade 6s go off to their secondary schools to find out about year 7. So it's a fairly busy day in schools across Victoria. We're asking you to come and meet us in the school gym. So there's an external gate entrance, and those of you that came for the transition sessions, you would have entered through the gate that is opposite the gym. So don't come to the main school entrance, come to that same gate entrance where the school gym is, and we'll welcome you into the gym. There, the teachers, there are 6 prep classes for 2021. The 6 teachers will have lists of the student classes. So once you find your child's name on the list, you'll then be able to know and direct them to the teacher for that, for them. So we'll have the 6 classes organised in the gym, and then the teachers and the students will then go off to the classroom. So as a rule, parents won't be able to go with students. We'll provide you some information at that point. There was a question about some information packs. So if you haven't received any information, we will have further information packs available on that day, which you can take. Things like uniform and canteen ordering, for example. And then we'll give you some further information, and then we'll ask you to leave. Now, we are still complying with the Victorian Government and the Department of Education regulations with regards to the COVID safe in terms of crowd sizes. So we would love to have been able to hold on to all the prep parents and spend further time with you, but we're not allowed to do that. So we'll give you some initial information, then we'll ask you to leave. An opportunity maybe just to go for a walk, or go home if you're close, or go have a cup of coffee, and then to return at 10:30 and we'll ask you to meet us at the school basketball courts, we're thinking at this stage, but we'll give you that exact information on the day. And then the teacher will bring out the class, and then you'll be able to reunite with your child. They'll have a show bag with them. Hopefully they've had a great session, getting to know their teacher, getting to know other children in their class, and then you're able to depart for the day. So looking forward to that day. It will be a bit busy in the morning getting organised and busy at the end, but in my experience the morning goes very well, and you need to be hopefully resting assured that once the teacher is with the class in the classroom, the teacher is highly skilled to engage and interact and make connections with your child, and have a fantastic 1 hour session. So and then afterwards they can show you their show bag and tell you all about it. So looking forward to that. So that's really the next event that is occurring, which you need to be aware of, and we're very keen for you and your child to participate in our orientation step up morning. Okay, I'll now hand back to Chelsea.
Hello again. Okay, so I'm talking to you about getting your child ready for the first day of school. Very daunting, and sometimes your child might feel a little bit anxious and nervous, but it's okay because their teachers are there to help them and get them through the morning. They're going to be fine when they enter the classroom. It's all about ripping that band-aid off and making sure that you leave and don't make it too much of a big deal that your child is coming to school. They are in safe hands, and we cannot wait to start the year with them. You need to make sure that your child's school uniform fits and that they have tried it on and everything is perfect with their uniform. You need to make adjustments. You can do so in plenty of time. You need to make sure that their bag is packed with their lunchbox and their drink bottle. It happens sometimes we forget things, and that is okay. If you do forget something on the first day of school, maybe just pop into the front office and hand it over the desk. But I'm sure you will all be prepared, so you won't need to worry. You need to make sure with the whole COVID situation that you get lots of first day photos prior to coming to school. I know that it's a bit disappointing that you are not going to be able to take photos of them walking into their classroom or being into their classroom, but hopefully the teacher can make up for that for you and get lots of photos in the classroom so that you do not miss out. Please make sure you arrive at your assigned times. So on the first day of school, it will be a staggered start. You need to make sure that you check Compass or contact the school if you are not sure what time you are meant to be at your classroom. It's very important that we do a staggered start because we are trying to meet the regulations. Walk your child to their classroom. Make sure that they're not walking alone or with a sibling. It is their first day of school. It is a bit of a big deal, but it's still important that they get there safely. Once your child has started an activity in the classroom, you will be asked to say goodbye. You probably, most likely, hopefully, will be able to enter the classroom, but at this stage we are unsure. So we're presuming that you will not be entering the classroom, so you might just have to say goodbye to them at the door. Sorry, I won't be moving.
Back to that one.
We encourage all parents to leave the school grounds by 9:10 and to allow your students to start their learning journey at school for the very first time. At the end of the 2 days, you'll be invited into the classroom to pick up your child, and hopefully they can show you some of the things that they've been doing over the last 2 days at school. It's very important that we are able to let them share their experiences with you and encourage them to have a great attitude towards school. From the second week, please wait outside your child's class at the end of the day because we will bring your child to you. We need to make sure that we are catering and facilitating some independence within your child, and so it will be a big deal for them just to be able to walk to you at the end of the day. Spend time asking questions and listening to your child talk about their day. I know some of their stories can be very, very long, but some of them can be also very interesting. So please make sure you do try and take the time out of your day to hear all about it. Don't forget, these are very important. I can't tell you how many school jumpers I have in my classroom right now. Please make sure that your child's school uniform is clearly labelled. It is very, very important. We really don't want your child losing their uniform in the first week of school, or even perhaps in the first day because there's no name on it. Please make sure you pack a healthy snack and lunch in your child's lunchbox, and make sure that they have a substantial amount. Some of them get a little bit hungry more than normal. Please make sure that the drink bottle you are supplying your child has water only, and make sure that you are including spare clothes, underwear as well, in your child's bag, in a plastic bag, so that if they do have an accident, we are able to help them and make sure that they put their clothes that they're unable to wear back into a plastic bag and then into their school bag. Please bring the book bag on day one. So the books that you are getting at the start of the year, try not to label them if you can, but if you want to label them, that's fine. It's pretty exciting getting all your school stuff. I can remember when I was a child. But please make sure you do bring it on the first day of school. It's very important. And make sure that you bring your art smock, your library bag, and a school hat. Hopefully that helps in getting your child ready for the first day of school.
Okay, so this slide just shows you what that staggered start looks like on the very first day of school for next year. We're doing it by surname, by your child's last name, with the breakdown there. So a surname A to H is to come at 9:20, I to O 9:40, and P to Z at 10. The main reason with the staggered start is it's going to be in three smaller groups. It's going to be much easier for the teacher to interact with a small group of kids, welcome them to the class, get them organised with their bag, and get them into some initial activities. And then, of course, an opportunity for you to say goodbye to your child and maybe take some photos as well. So the staggered start is a effective way of organising that very first morning, rather than 20 or 21 kids coming to school all at the same time with another group of 20 parents. And that makes it very difficult then for the students, parents, and the teacher to get everyone settled. So please follow the staggered start, and the first day of school will finish as normal at 3:30. Just a mention with the book delivery, those are all being done directly to the school. So the teachers will have all the book pack materials at school, and the teachers will then organise and hand those out to the students. We'll move now to questions or dates to remember. Yep, so as we've talked about, Tuesday the 8th of December. If you arrive just after 9, just keep in mind the prep teachers have got a double job this morning. They're going to be very busy because they're sending kids off to grade 1, and then they're also then coming over to the gym to get organised to meet your children. So if we start arriving at 9:10, ideally by 9:30, we've got ourselves organised, and the teacher and the students will move off to the class. It can be a little bit hectic, but it does work out in the end. So just a reminder about the prep day, Tuesday the 8th of December, and we've already spoken about the first day of school next year, Friday the 29th of January. All right, we'll go to some questions, and thank you to parents who have been entering some questions in the chat. So what I'm going to do is read out the question and then attempt to answer it. So the question is, do they need a change of clothes? The answer is yes. Chelsea just touched on that. So a complete change of clothes in the bag as a backup. Plastic bag. Yep, plastic bag, in a plastic bag in the child's bag, and it just stays there. And then the teacher knows if there's any accident or issues that the change of clothes is in the school bag. So that was that question. There's a question about the before and after school care. Will it be on site? And the answer to that is yes. It will operate from, again, if you came for the transition sessions in that foyer area of the school gym. There's a full kitchen there, and that foyer area, that will be the base for the out of school hours care provider. So it is on site. We currently, some students do go off site, so they get picked up and dropped by bus or other means. But if we move to this, we'll be providing that at the school through an external provider. Next question, is there bicycle parking on site? Yes, we do have a bike parking area. A number of children do ride their bikes. We do bike education at the school as well. And children in the senior years are permitted to ride their bike unsupervised, based on parent decisions. So yes, there is a bicycle parking at the school.
So with the bikes, we also try to ensure that the students are not riding them throughout the school grounds in the morning.
Yep, good point. So we don't have bicycles riding in the school grounds. So as they arrive at school, they would dismount and then walk their bike to the bike shed from a safety point of view. Question, can parents view where the student's classroom is? So this is referring, I'm guessing, to the orientation day coming up. You'll be able to see from the basketball court the area of the classrooms. It's still fairly strict at the moment around parents not entering classrooms. So the current arrangements don't have parents entering classrooms in the school, and most schools are operating with that rule. In terms of entering the classroom, no, but certainly having an idea of where those classrooms are and the location in the school, yes. There's a question about fees, and yes, that will be, so Jan Barber, who's our business manager, will be speaking to you on the orientation day, and we're looking to set up a little spot for her to do payment of fees with you. So that will be available on the 8th for you to do any payments for fees. Next question, how many students are in class? We're looking at 18, 19, 20, probably not more than 21 at this stage. We have 110 preps confirmed at this stage, and we're estimating about 120 maximum, so 6 classes of 20 at this stage. Next question, with regarding to Compass, the online communication system, will prep students be automatically added to a family account? The answer to that is yes. Those students will then link in with your older siblings at the school, and that should all work fine. So moving to the next question, regarding a copy of the presentation. Yes, so the PowerPoint will be put onto the school website. So all the slides that we've been going through with you today will be put onto the school website, and also the recording will be made available as well. Mr. Not through the website, through YouTube. Yep, so through YouTube. So Courtney Gardens has a YouTube channel. If you type into YouTube Courtney Gardens, it will come up. You can subscribe. At the moment, a number of our whole school events and our morning show and assemblies are already there on our YouTube channel. So that may give you a bit of an insight into a number of things happening in the school, and we're very proud of how our senior student leaders run and present on the morning show. So you'll be able to get a look at that. And yes, we'll make the audio presentation available to you and the slides as well through the website. As a general rule, the website is a good port of call for information. We continually update it with information. There's the Compass link there. We also have a school Instagram page that we've just started this year. So Mr. Knott and I put things on that. So Compass, YouTube, Instagram are our sort of preferred methods of communication, and the school website as well. Next question is about after and before school care. How will we apply for it? Good question. So once the provider is selected, I'll make that information available to the parent community and to you as prospective parents, if you don't have a child already here. The general process is you'll need to register with the company. Most of them will have a website and a fairly simple registration process. Once your child is registered, you can then access the service. You can't access the service if you're not registered, because they need to have all the information and contact details for the child. So for example, if you ring up or try to do a booking on a Tuesday morning for that afternoon, for example, but you haven't registered, well then the booking won't go through. But if you've registered and you do that, there'll be no problem. So I'll work closely with the provider to provide that information to you with regards to registration, how the service works, payments, hours of operation, and more details. And you know, I'm excited to be able to partner with a provider and offer that service to the community. And the provider will be doing a lot with the school to promote the service as well, because it's in their interest that the service is a quality service and does well. So there will be more information around that once the provider has been selected. The next question, can both parents come on orientation day? I mean, preferable that it be one, just purely due to the COVID restrictions with numbers. We would prefer if it's one. Certainly by next year, easing of restrictions may make that quite possible for more parents, but on the orientation day, we would prefer one parent to come, and that just keeps our numbers a bit more manageable in terms of our COVID-19 restriction guidelines. The schools, Courtney Gardens, as well as all metropolitan schools, are still working fairly strictly under guidelines, and hence the presentation done remotely on Zoom today. We're just not allowed to have large groups of particularly external visitors into the school. So it's very much come that on the orientation day, bit of information, your child meets their teacher, off they go, and then for you to depart and then return at 10:30. So I apologise to you that these restrictions are in place, but unfortunately we need to abide by them, as Victoria is still following a number of restrictions, as we know. Next question is just around school hours. So the school starts, the official hours are 9 to 3:30. teachers open their classrooms about 10 minutes prior to that. Generally, kids can just drop their bag and go off and play, and then they come into the classroom at 9. There's a recess for half an hour. There is lunch for 50 minutes, and then the bell time is 3:30 for the end of the day, and that's where when you pick up your child. School for preps, apart from that staggered start on the first Friday, runs as normal. The only exception to that is the first 5 Wednesdays of term 1. So Monday's a normal day, Tuesday's a normal day, no school Wednesday, normal day Thursday and Friday. So what's happening on those Wednesdays is that the prep teachers are conducting an assessment with your child. So they'll provide to you an appointment time. So on one of those Wednesdays, you'll bring your child back to school, and the teacher will sit with the child and do a English assessment, and you do the maths and the maths. So there's an English assessment and there's also a maths assessment, and virtually all schools, so all schools across the state do this. It's actually a mandatory assessment for new prep students. So most schools operate in a similar way. Those assessments are done, and it's fairly hour.
Yeah, a little bit less, I think.
A little bit less than an hour, so about an hour. So you'll have one of those appointments on a Wednesday, but apart from those first 5 Wednesdays, school operates as normal. In terms of playtime, recess and lunch, I'll work with the prep team to, typically the preps will have a separate recess and lunch. So they get familiar with the school, they get familiar with location of toilets, the playgrounds, where they can, where they can't go. So the teachers do quite a bit of orientation with them about the school environment and rules. But then over, by the 2nd, 3rd week, the preps then join in with the rest of the school for normal recess and lunch. But we have, again, a bit of a transition for the preps to those normal recess and lunch times. But I'll work with the prep team around how that operates next year. Yes.
I also just wanted to state that before recess and before lunch, we provide enough time for your child to eat their food as well.
Okay. Yep.
So they don't need to eat it in the recess and lunchtime.
Yep.
We actually provide time for them to eat it before they go outside to play.
So just, I'm not sure if you heard that from Chelsea. So we provide time at just before recess, and there's 10 minutes, and preps usually will start a bit earlier, time to eat recess their snack and eat their lunch in class. And the teachers are very aware that preps can take more time. So there is an allocated 10 minutes, 12:50 to 1 p.m. that is allocated for the whole school to have lunch, but the prep teachers will work with their class to provide adequate time for them to eat their lunch, and also for them to have their snack before recess. Question about uniform on the 8th. You do not have to be in school uniform for the 8th. In fact, don't come in school uniform. Keep school uniform as an exciting thing for them on the very first day of school next year. So the orientation day on the 8th, just come in casual clothes, whatever is comfortable for your child. And that's how we'll run that day, and keep their uniform as an exciting thing to wear on the very first day of school next year. Okay, next question. Will the prep program differ next year as kids missed kinder? That is a terrific question. So one of the things that Maddie Sheether spoke about a little bit earlier around the discovery learning. So the discovery learning is being brought in next year. It's something new for the school, and that will run with some level of similarity to what a kinder program would run. So that will be familiar for students who did, or children who did go to kinder. And that will be a big part of that transition, particularly for prep students who have missed kinder. Matt's, I think, just going back to the slide where we had that previously. The other thing that the school will be having is, and you may have heard this on the news, is the tutor learning program. So Courtney Gardens has been given significant amounts of money to provide extra support for students. Now, Courtney Gardens already has a significant amount of support and intervention for students. I'll go through that quickly. We have 2 full-time English as an additional language teachers. So 2 full-time teachers for students who are learning English as a second language. So they work both with junior students and senior students. We have a full-time or virtually full-time experienced teacher who coordinates any students with disability or special needs. So she plays a role in that. We have a number of education support staff. We have multicultural aides who speak other languages, who support families and our students. And we also run literacy intervention as well as a significant program in the school. So there are already a number of supports in place, but next year, particularly around the discovery learning, we'll endeavour to keep class sizes small, and also the tutor learning program will be providing a lot of extra support that wouldn't normally be the case. So there will be those supports. And look, I mean, prep children have the capacity to learn very quickly and learn well, and they're naturally quite resilient. So we're very excited to be able to hopefully next year bring them into a fairly normal year in terms of moving into 2021, where school will run and operate fairly normally if we're past the events of this year. And we're very confident that your child will thrive in the environment that we're creating here at Courtney Gardens. Okay, I think that, just one more question. Buddies, yes, so we have buddies with older classes. So we do have a buddies program, so that will get set up in term 1. Yep, term 1 next year, and your child will have an older grade buddy as part of our buddies program. So we do run a buddies program. No more questions. Grade 4, yeah, I knew there was a change. Yeah, so it is grade 4s. Yeah, yep. So grade 4s are the prep buddies, and when children go to grade 1, it's the grade 5. So there's continuity with the buddy program. So for preps and grade 1s. So that brings us to the end of the questions and to the end of the session. I'd like to thank you for joining us. Hopefully you found the session informative, and hopefully we've been able to answer some questions. If there's any other burning questions, the school office can be contacted to answer any questions for you, and I'm happy to meet with you or answer any questions as well, particularly if there's some particular needs for your child. A number of you, well, not a number, but some of you would have met with Sue Grant, who's that lady who runs our supports program. So she would have met with a handful of you in terms of your child who needs extra support. So please don't hesitate to ask. As we say again, this year has not been a normal year, and we're trying our best to run transition and now offer this session to you. We're very glad that we can offer the orientation day as well. And hopefully we're doing as much as we can to enable you and your child to feel ready for school next year. Any other, I'm just looking at the staff, anything else we want to add at this point? Covered it all. No more questions, Maddie? Okay, so we will now conclude the session. Again, thank you all very much. Have a great evening, and looking forward to seeing you at the orientation session on the 8th, and certainly for the start of school next year. Goodbye, everyone.